11/100th of a second. I know I've shared that, but I like that statistic. 11, I can't even fathom. 11/100th of a second. I can't even wrap my mind hardly around how fast that is. The church, do you understand? In the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, we shall be changed. Those who are alive when Jesus comes, they will not see death. That's why Paul says there in going back to 1 Corinthians, verse 55, O death, where is your sting? O Hades, where is your victory? Why does he say that? Because those folks that are alive when Jesus comes, they'll not taste death. They'll not taste death. They'll be changed. Well, the Apostle Paul in what was it, Titus chapter, where was it at? Chapter 2, verse 13. Well did he say, call it a blessed hope. It is a blessed hope. It is a blessed hope. Oh, you could be part of that. I hope everyone within the hearing of my voice this morning, I hope you're part of it. When that trumpet sounds, I hope you hear it. I hope when you hear it, you know what it is. If Jesus lives in your heart, I believe at that moment you will. I believe the Holy Spirit will tell you. I hope you're ready. The fact of the matter is, everyone can if they'll just trust Jesus. Everyone can. Number 3, lastly, let's move on. Go to 1 John chapter 2. 1 John chapter 2:28. Notice again what the Apostle John says, and now, little children, abide in him, that when he appears, we may have confidence and not be ashamed before him at his coming. Number 3, lastly this morning, if Jesus should come today, understand some will be ashamed. Some will be ashamed. Why will they be ashamed? The last point takes us to where the Apostle, this last point takes us to where the Apostle John has to teach us today. Abiding in him, abiding in Jesus, that we may have confidence. Abiding in Jesus. I would suggest for you today, if you have time, go back to John chapter 15, verses 1 through 8, and look what Jesus had to teach about abiding in him. Residing, our word abiding in the Gospel of John has that meaning of residing, living with him. Abiding in him, that we may have confidence. This is where so many are going to get into trouble when the rapture happens. This is where many are going to be ashamed. They're going to be ashamed of this. While they may belong to Jesus, they are not fully residing. They are not fully abiding with him. There will be some who will be ashamed. They will be ashamed. Why is that? Because they've become too worldly, too carnal in their walk. Romans chapter 8, you want to know what carnality is, worldliness? Go to Romans chapter 8. Start at verse 1 and read down through about verse 8. Was it Romans 8, 6 and 7? Paul says, for to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. For the carnal mind is enmity against God. Neither can it know, for it is spiritually discerned. Romans 8, 6 and 7. Start at Romans 8. Verse 1 and read down through about verse 7, verse 8. You want to learn about worldly carnalness? Oh, it's church, understand. Child of God, understand. Carnalness, worldliness is your enemy. Was it the writer of Hebrews chapter 11? Talk about Moses rejected the riches of Egypt to walk with God instead of enjoying sin for a season. Church, understands.